আলাইকুম, কেমন আছেন সবাই? আশা করি অনেক ভালো আছেন। আমিও আপনাদের দোয়ায় অনেক ভালো আছি। আপনারা জানেন যে আমি আইএলটিএস পরীক্ষা দিয়েছিলাম, কিন্তু আমার রিডিং এ 5.5 এসেছিল। তো আমি চাই না, আল্লাহ আল্লাহ না করুক কারোর 5.5 আসুক, এটা আমি চাই না। এটা খুবই দুঃখজনক একটা ব্যাপার। তো আমার তো আইএলটিএস পরীক্ষা দেয়াই লাগবে, আমার রেজাল্ট ভালো করাই লাগবে। যার কারণে আমি এখন চেষ্টা করছি যে কিভাবে আমার আইএলটিএস স্কিলটা বাড়ানো যায়, মানে রিডিং স্কিলটা বাড়ানো যায়। তো আমার টিপস অ্যান্ড ট্রিক্স সবই জানা ছিল, কিন্তু আমার মূল প্রবলেমটা ছিল হচ্ছে রিডিং স্কিল কম ছিল। আমার স্ক্যানিং এবং স্কিমিং পাওয়ার ছিল না, এবং এখনও নাই। তো যার কারণে আমি চ্যালেঞ্জ নিয়েছি যে আমি রিডিং স্কিলটা বাড়াবো, যেভাবেই হোক না কেন। তো আপনাদের সাথে এটা আমি এই জন্যই শেয়ার করছি যে আমি জানি যে অনেক স্টুডেন্ট রয়েছে, অনেক মানুষ রয়েছে যারা রিডিং স্কিল নিয়ে স্টাক হয়ে আছে। রিডিং কিভাবে স্কিল বাড়াবে, কি করবে না করবে, একদম হাহুতাশ অবস্থা আমার মতো। তো এখানে আসলে হাহুতাশ করার কিছু নাই, টিপস অ্যান্ড টিপস খোঁজারও কিছু নাই। এখানে জাস্ট কাজ করে যেতে হবে। রিডিং স্কিল বাড়ানোর জন্য রিডিং পড়তে হবে, দ্যাটস দ্য ওনলি ওয়ে। ওকে, তো যার কারণে আমি 40 দিনের একটি চ্যালেঞ্জ নিয়েছি যে আমি আর্টিকেল পড়বো। আর্টিকেল পার্ট বাই পার্ট, টপিক ওয়াইজ পড়ে যাব, ভোকাবুলারি কালেকশন করব, এবং এর পাশাপাশি আমার রিডিং স্কিলটাও কি হবে, ইমপ্রুভ হবে। তো আপনাদের সাথে শেয়ার করছি, এর মূল উদ্দেশ্য হচ্ছে আপনারা যদি চান আমার সাথে এই চ্যালেঞ্জ নিয়ে নিতে পারেন 40 দিনের, এবং আমার সাথে প্র্যাকটিস করতে পারেন। আমি যে প্রতিদিনের যেই আর্টিকেল পড়বো সেটা ডেসক্রিপশন লিঙ্কে দিয়ে দিব, ওখান থেকে আমি যেই স্ট্র্যাটেজি ফলো করছি সেটা আপনিও ফলো করতে পারেন। তো এখানে আমার 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 ভালো লাগবে যে অন্তত কেউ একজন আমার সাথে রিডিং পড়ছে। যখন আপনি বলবেন যে হ্যাঁ, আমারও বাড়ছে, আমি উপকৃত হচ্ছি, তো এটা আমার জন্য ভালো লাগবে, এবং আমি আমি লোনলি ফিল করব না যে হ্যাঁ, আমার সাথে একজন তো পড়ছে, কেউ না পড়ুক। তো যাই হোক, এটা এই 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 আর্টিকেলটা পড়তে আমাদের কি দরকার? আমাদের দরকার একটি কলম, একটি খাতা, আমরা যাতে ওয়ার্ড নোট করতে পারি। প্রথমত আম, নিয়মটি আমি যেটা ফলো করব সেটা আমি আপনাদের বলি। আমি ফার্স্টে আর্টিকেল শুরু করার আগে স্টপ ওয়াচ চালু করে দিব, যাতে আমি বুঝতে পারি যে আমার কতক্ষণ সময় লাগলো। ওয়ার্ড বাই ওয়ার্ড মিনিং একদম জেনে বুঝে সব কিছু মিলাই আমি পড়বো ফার্স্টে। দেন আমি আবার স্টপ ওয়াচ চালু করব এবং শুধু রিডিং পড়ে যাব। তখন দেখবো যে আমার কতক্ষণ সময় লাগলো। আশা করা যায় ডে বাই ডে এটা আস্তে 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 রিডিং স্কিল বাড়াবে আমার এবং আপনাদের অবশ্যই। এবং এক সময় আসবে যে সময় খুবই কম সময়ে স্মুথলি আমি পড়ে যেতে পারবো। আপনারা যদি আমার সাথে প্র্যাকটিস করেন, ইনশাল্লাহ আপনারাও পারবেন। তো যাই হোক, তাহলে আজকে শুরু করা যাক। ও হ্যাঁ, আরেকটা বিষয় যে আহ, এই যে ওয়ার্ডগুলো কালেকশন করব, এই ওয়ার্ডগুলো নিয়েও কাজ করতে হবে। ডিকশনারিতে যাব, ডিকশনারিতে গিয়ে এটা সার্চ দিব, প্রনাউন্সিয়েশন জানবো, এবং পাশাপাশি বিভিন্ন এক্সাম্পল ফলো করব। তো এই হচ্ছে টোটাল ব্যাপার। তো চলুন আমরা আজ থেকে শুরু করা যায়। আজকে আমার প্রথম দিন, 40 দিন টার্গেটের আজকে প্রথম দিন। তো দেরি না করে আমার সাথে শুরু করে দেন। আর এই ভিডিওটি অনেক লং হবে। আমি চাই না যে আপনারা এই ভিডিওটি সম্পূর্ণ দেখেন, কারণ এটা অস্থির একটা অবস্থা। আমার রিডিং তো যাচ্ছে তাই অবস্থা। আমি আসলে চাইও না যে আপনি আমার এই ভাঙা ভাঙা রিডিং শোনেন। তো যাই হোক, আমি রিকোয়েস্ট করবো যে জাস্ট আমাকে ফলো করেন। আমাকে ফলো না, আমাকে একটু লুক আফটার করেন যে আমি কি করতে চাচ্ছি বা আমি কি করছি, আদৌ আমি আমার রিডিং স্কিল আমি বাড়াতে পারছি কিনা। তাতে কি হবে, আপনার থেকে আমি ফিডব্যাক পাবো, পাশাপাশি আপনার একটা ধারণা তৈরি হবে যে কিভাবে রিডিং স্কিলটা আসলেই বাড়ানো যায়। ওকে, তো আমি আর্টিকেলটা নিয়ে রেখেছি। দেখুন, আমি এই যে স্টপ ওয়াচ চালু করেছি, ট্রান্সলেটর রেখে দিয়েছি, যদি কোনো প্রবলেম হয় আমি এখান থেকে ট্রান্সলেট করে নিতে পারবো। আর এই যে এটা ফিউচার প্ল্যানেট, এটা হচ্ছে এনভায়রনমেন্ট বেসড একটি আর্টিকেল, এটা আমি পড়বো। আমি এনভায়রনমেন্ট বেসিক কয়েকদিন পড়তে থাকবো, যাতে এনভায়রনমেন্ট রিলেটেড যা ভোকাবুলারি রয়েছে সেগুলো আমি কালেকশন করে নিতে পারি। তো ঠিক আছে, শুরু করা যাক। স্টপ ওয়াচটা চালু করে দিই ফার্স্টে। এটা আমার প্রথম চ্যালেঞ্জ, ফার্স্ট ডে। ওকে, আমি চালু করে দিয়েছি, দেখা যাক কতক্ষণ লাগে। হুম। আর্টিকেলটা পাবলিশড হয়েছে 22 January 2021। ওকে, the most populous city in Africa is also one of its most vulnerable to sea level rise and floods. The most populous city, okay, in Africa is also one of the most vulnerable to sea level rise and floods. Vulnerable. What is means? What is meaning? Vulnerable. Okay, translator. I use this translator to translate any words in my native language. You also do in your Latin language. Okay. Vulnerable. It's mean durable. Vulnerable means weak. Vulnerable means weak. Vulnerable. Vulnerable. How it's pronounced it? How it's pronounced it? Vulnerable.
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 Vulnerable. The most populous city in Africa is also one of its most vulnerable sea level rise and floods. Rise and floods. Sea level, সমুদ্র, rise and floods. What's the meaning? Rise and floods, বৃদ্ধি এবং বন্যা. Okay, rise and floods. The most populous city in Africa is also one of the most vulnerable to sea level rise and floods. Okay, the meaning, total sentence I to translate. আফ্রিকার সবচেয়ে জনবহুল শহর উচ্চ বেতন কম বন্যার জন্য ঝুঁকিপূর্ণ. Okay. The most populous city in Africa is also one of its most vulnerable to sea level rise and floods. That is, to stay afloat, to stay afloat, to stay afloat. ভাসমান. Stay afloat. Stay afloat. Stay afloat. Everything from its architecture to its transport may have to change. To stay afloat এটাকে ভাসমান রাখতে, everything from its architecture সহ, স্থাপত্য সহ, its transport may have to change. এর ট্রান্সপোর্ট যা কিছু রয়েছে সবকিছু চেঞ্জ করতে হবে. may have to change. may have to change করতে হবে, পরিবর্তন করতে হবে. Okay. The most populous city in Africa is also one of its most vulnerable to sea level rise and floods. To stay afloat, everything from its architecture to its transport may have to change. Okay, so আফ্রিকার মোস্ট পপুলার সিটি এটা একটি, এবং ফ্লাড রেজ খুবই দুর্বল, vulnerable to sea level, to stay afloat এটাকে ভাসমান রাখতে আর্কিটেকচার সহ, ট্রান্সপোর্টেশন সহ সবকিছু পরিবর্তন করতে হবে, হচ্ছে মূল বিষয়. ওকে, শুরু করা যাক. navigating the navigating the thronging street of logos. navigating the navigating navigating the thronging street of Lagos, Nigeria is a challenge at the best of time. Navigating. What do you mean by navigating? Navigating. Okay, navigating the thronging street. Thronging street. রাস্তায় ভিড়.
Thronging streets.
Thronging streets.
Thronging streets.
Thronging streets of Lagos, Nigeria is a challenge at the best of time. It is a most major challenge in that time, but during the rainy season, the city streets can become almost impossible. But during the rainy season, the city street can become almost impossible. Okay, home to more than 24 million. Home to more than 24 million. Lagos is Nigeria economic powerhouse, making its a destination for people new opportunities. Seeking new opportunities. Making it destination. What is destination? Okay, গন্তব্য. Destination. Making it a destination for people seeking new opportunities. Seeking, found of, I mean seeking means maybe found of, chawa, seeking. Okay, once, making it a destination for people seeking new opportunities. I mean men want to found out some opportunities to build new houses. stay flat, but that rapid growth creates pressure on the street. But the rapid growth creates pressure on the streets and the environment. But that rapid growth creates pressure on the street. Okay, the rapid growth of population, um, or cars or transportation, its impact on road, street, and as well as environment. Okay, this this session maybe want to say that the the overcrowded rapid growth of in a people or communication system like transportation system is increasing pressure on the street and the environment. It's a dangerous effect on environment. So that's why the Nigeria's people want to make houses stay afloat on the water. Okay, the streets are often flooded. The streets are often flooded. The streets are often flooded. রাস্তাঘাট প্রায় প্লাবিত হয়. The streets are often flooded, in part due to the dysfunctional disposal. Often the streets are flooded because of dysfunctional disposal. What is the mean of dysfunctional disposal? অকার্যকর নিষ্পত্তি. Maybe the drainage system is not good, or street, the water system is not better. So that's why the streets are often flooded with water. Of the 6,000 and 10,000 tons of rubbish generated daily in the city. Rubbish generated means utpanno, generated daily in the city. The streets are often flooded, in part due to the dysfunctional disposal of the 6,000 to 10,000 tons of rubbish generated daily in the city. Okay, after a downpour is a good word. Downpour means rain. Yes, bishti. Downpour.
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 Downpour. Okay, I wrote down. I'm writing these words because it's important to speak in my speaking session. Downpour. Downpour means bishti. Okay.
Downpour.
Downpour. What is it? After a downpour, rubbish piles up. Rubbish piles up. After a downpour, it means after raining, rubbish piles up. What is the mean of piles up? কি অবস্থা আমার?
Piles up.
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 It means gather. Piles up. Crowded. Piles up. Piles up in open gutter, and makes moving around the street difficult. After a downpour, after rain, rubbish piles up. Rubbish gathered in open gutter. What is the meaning of this word?
Gutters.
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 Gutters মানে নর্দমা. ও, gutters. আল্লাহ, আমি কি উচ্চারণ করতেছিলাম এটা? Rubbish piles up in open gutters and makes moving around the street difficult. Piles up in open gutters. Okay, after raining, rubbish piles up. Rubbish gather in open gutters. আমি ওপেন নর্দমার ভিতরে এই রাবিশগুলো জমা করা হয়. Makes moving around the street difficult. And makes moving এবং এটাকে অনেক ডিফিকাল্ট করে তোলা হয়। অ্যারাউন্ড দ্য স্ট্রিট ডিফিকাল্ট, মুভিং অ্যারাউন্ড দ্য স্ট্রিট ডিফিকাল্ট। আচ্ছা আমি মানেটাই দেখে নিই। মেক্স মুভিং অ্যারাউন্ড দ্য স্ট্রিট ডিফিকাল্ট, রাস্তায় চলাফেরা করা কঠিন করে তোলা। ইয়েস, দ্যাটস রাইট। Makes moving around the street difficult. Rubbish piles up in gutters. Open gutters mean um, নর্দমা, ওপেন ভাবে রাবিশগুলো ফেলা হয়, অ্যান্ড এটার কারণে কি হয়, ইটস কনসিকুয়েন্টলি মেক্স মুভিং অ্যারাউন্ড দ্য স্ট্রিট ডিফিকাল্ট। আমরা আমাদের সিটি, if we saw um, our towns, some roads, the city corporation piles up the waste in open gutter in the side of the road. So it's make so difficult, so arduous to move people, running people in front of the gutters gutters. Okay, I think that gutters is important word to me. Okay, gutters, I write down gutters, gutters. In open gutters and make moving around is very difficult. Mhm. Gutters, piles up মানে গাদা দেওয়া, piles up নর্দমা, piles up গাদা দেওয়া, piles up in open gutter and makes moving around is very difficult. I worry when it rains. We are depressed when rains. I mean when it downpour, especially when it heavy. Says Logos resident Stephen Iriga. It makes me anxious. It makes me যখন খুবই ডাউনপোর হয়, I mean heavy rain, if when the rain is heavy, I mean cats and dogs, that time I feel it makes me anxious. Anxious or anxious? Okay, let's try it to correct pronunciation.
Anxious.
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 আল্লাহ, আমি তো anxious বলতেছিলাম।
Anxious.
anxious anxious
Anxious.
anxious
Anxious.
anxious
Anxious.
anxious
Anxious.
anxious
Anxious.
anxious উদ্বিগ্ন, okay, চিন্তিত। anxious, it makes me anxious on the occasion when taking a taxi through a waterlogging prone part of the city. Waterlogging, what is this waterlogging? It means flood, জলাবদ্ধতা, waterlogging. Wa I write down this word, waterlogging, জলাবদ্ধতা, জলাবদ্ধতা। Okay, waterlogging. What is pronounced? How it's pronounced?
Waterlogging.
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 Waterlogging. Okay, taxi through a waterlogging prone parts of the city. Prone parts. এত যদি সার্চ করতে হয় তাহলে কেমনে হয়? প্রবণ অংশ, prone parts.
Prone part.
Prone parts of the city. Okay, on one occasion when taking a taxi through waterlogging prone parts of the city. Okay, when it's rain downpour in our capital city, I mean Dhaka. That time we saw news on television that the people are so suffering to go here and there, even on the rickshaws or running their footprints. So that's the difficult moment to the citizen of our country. It's not the problem of our country, but the so many countries they have facing the problem. It's called waterlogging when water is stray and it's make us problems to run or moving here and there from our home. So that's called the waterlogging. taxi through on one occasion when taking a taxi through a waterlogging মানে waterlogging এর মধ্যে জলবদ্ধতার মধ্যে prone parts of the city she recalls the water she recalls the water gushing right into the back seat next to her. What's the meaning? সে তার পাশের সিটে ডুবে যাওয়া পাশের সিটে she recalls the water gushing. What is this gushing? বিশেষণ gushing right into the back seat next to her. Okay, so there's the whole passage meaning, I mean the whole para. This means that the street or rubbish are produced by dysfunctional disposal, and it's if the rain cats and dogs, I mean the heavy rain, after raining the waste um, waste throw in open gutter, I mean open নর্দমার ভিতরে ফেলা হয় and makes moving around, and it's consequently the people are difficult to move in front of the gutter. তার সামনে দিয়ে যেতে পিপলের অনেক কষ্ট হয়. um, Especially I worry when it's heavy rains because it makes me anxious. এটা আমাকে খুবই আশ্চর্যজনক করে তোলে, চিন্তিত করে তোলে. On occasion when taking a taxi through a water logging এবং ট্যাক্সিতে ওয়াটার লগিং এ করে যাওয়া বা হেঁটে যাওয়া ওয়াটার লগিং এর ভিতর দিয়ে অনেকটা কষ্টকর, অনেকটা ডিফিকাল্ট, এটাই তো বলতে চাচ্ছে. ইয়েস. ওকে, এখান থেকে আমি ওয়ার্ড পেলাম dysfunctional disposal. This is one. Dysfunctional disposal.
Dysfunctional disposal.
অকার্যকর নিষ্পত্তি.
Dysfunctional
disposal of the 600. Okay, downpour, I mean rain, downpour, and piles up means gather. Rubbish piles up in open gutter mean নর্দমা, যেটা আমরাকে ভাগার বলে থাকি. ইয়েস, ভাগার, যেখানে নর্দমা বা একটা গর্ত টাইপের, হোল টাইপের, যেখানে আমরা আমাদের জিনিসপাতি রাখি. Okay, in open gutter and makes moving around is very difficult. I worry when it rains, especially when it heavy, less locals resident step and Eureka, it makes me anxious. I'm ফার্স্টে বলতেছিলাম anxious. Oh, anxious.
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 Anxious. Okay, that's my reading history and that's my reading skill. How horrible I am. My reading is still so awful. Okay, if you still now with me and listening my reading, please don't do it. And if you will stay with me, please pronounce with me. Okay, and read out the whole the whole article from description link. You can also grab with me now, no problem. This is the screen recording screen. You will probably see um, you are probably seeing the sentences, the letters I speak, I read now. Okay, so I um I'm I'm go ahead the next para. While the overall climate in Lagos is expected to see less rainfall overall with climate change, while যখন when the overall climate, the whole climate is Lagos is expected to see less rainfall expected to see. They wanted to see the less rainfall expected, তারা যখন খুবই কম রেইনফল দেখতে চাই, তাই তো is expected to see less rainfall, যখন less rainfall দেখতে চাই overall with climate change, while কি বলতে যাচ্ছে আমি ঘোরাই টোরাই কি করতেছি এটা দেখেন. যদিও লগোসের সামগ্রিক জলবায়ু পরিবর্তনের সাথে সামগ্রিকভাবে কম বৃষ্টিপাত আশা করছে. Okay, while the overall climate is logos is expected to see less rainfall overall with climate change পরিবর্তনের সাথে সাথে তারাও কি করছে তারাও কম আশা করছে ওকে কম বৃষ্টি আশা করছে the intensity in intensity what is mean intensity তীব্রতা intensity তীব্রতা the power severity intensity তীব্রতা the intensity the power is pronounced
Intensity.
intensity
Intensity.
intensity
Intensity.
the intensity of rain is expected to increase রেনের তীব্রতা is increased day by day gradually বেড়ে যাচ্ছে bringing with it greater risk of flooding bringing with এই যে বেড়ে যাওয়ার consequently we can face flood we can face we can maybe the risk of flood I mean the bringing with it greater risk of flooding মানে বন্যা হওয়ার সম্ভাবনা খুবই বেশি ঝুঁকিতে আমরা থেকে যাচ্ছি bringing with তারা ঝুঁকিতে থেকে যাচ্ছে the intensity of rain is expected to increase expected I mean in future it indicates in future expected to increase করতে পারে the intensity of rain তীব্রতা is expected to increase তা বাড়তে পারে bringing with এটা বয়ে আনতে পারে its greater risk of flooding যেটা ফ্লাডের অনেক বড় একটি সম্ভাবনা বয়ে আনতে পারে ওকে meanwhile ইতিমধ্যে meanwhile 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 it's so really important word for writing meanwhile ইতিমধ্যে the low-lying city is also the low-lying city is also particularly vulnerable. Wow, we again get vulnerable word that has been what is the meaning of vulnerable? I forget it. No problem. Durable, weak. Okay, vulnerable. The low-lying city is also particularly vulnerable to water from another source. Meanwhile, the low-lying city is also particularly vulnerable যে এরিয়াগুলো যে রিজনগুলো low-lying city low অবস্থানে আছে also particularly vulnerable to water from another source খুবই ঝুঁকিপূর্ণ খুবই দুর্বল অবস্থায় রয়েছে raising seas কেন sea level raise করার জন্য raising seas if global warming exits mean maybe expand or increase i i I searched it better I search this word once again সরিয়ে গেছে exits
Exceeds.
exceeds
Exceeds.
exceeds e x c e e d s exceeds
Exceeds.
exceeds
Exceeds.
exceeds okay if global warming exceeds যদি global warming টা বৃদ্ধি পায় if the global warming increase 2 degrees Celsius the city is predicted to see 90 Celsius of sea level rise by 2000 to 2100 2100 wow the city is predicted to see the city is predicted to see the city predicted করবে যে তার রেজ অর্থাৎ সি লেভেলটা রেজ করবে কত সালে 2100 সালে according to research led by marine uh, physicist Svetlana is Svetlana okay it's very I should I should um, I should search and pronounce this word from the marine what is this পদার্থবিদ্যা
Physicist.
physicist
Physicist.
physicist
Physicist.
physicist and the, how it's pronounced
Svetlana.
Svetlana
Svetlana.
Svetlana
Svetlana.
Svetlana okay my friends don't worry please it's a reading time it's a practicing time if I yes I am doing a lot of mistakes I know but please forgive me because it's the practicing time. I am trying to improving my reading skills, just reading skills. That's why I'm trying to read the whole article, but it makes me really horrible. So please forgive me if you stay till now with me. The Jeva of the UK National uh, O- Oceanography Center. What is what is the pronounce? How it is pronounced?
Oceanography.
Oceanography, oceanography, oceanography,
Oceanography.
oceanography,
Oceanography.
oceano,
Oceanography.
oceanography,
Oceanography.
oceanography,
Oceanography.
oceanography,
Oceanography.
oceanography,
Oceanography.
oceanography, National Oceanography Center, National Oceanography Center. Okay, according to research led by marine physicist Svetlana Jevarez, Jevar, Jevar, আল্লাহরে এটা পড়া বলা সম্ভব না, এটা বাদ দিয়ে যাচ্ছি, of the UK National Oceanography Center, National Oceanography Center. এটি রিসার্চ এখান থেকে করা হচ্ছে, যে জায়গাটা ন্যাশনাল ওশানারি সেন্টার রিসার্চ রিসার্চ আর ডুইং ন্যাশনাল ওশানারি সেন্টার, দিস দ্য অর্গানাইজেশন, the country of UK. Okay, now in the face of flooding, now in the face of how in the face of flooding, কিভাবে বন্যার মুখে, how কিভাবে how in the face of flooding, বন্যার মুখে কিভাবে we can face flooding. Okay, blocked streets and rising water is Africa's most populous city adapting. Whoa, now I understand. How in the face of flooding, blocked street and rising waters is Africa's most populous city adapting? I mean, Africans population, African people, they they can adapting the flood situation or not, and how if they are doing this, how they do, how they will do. That's the whole meaning, I think, this sentence. How in the face of flooding, blocked street and rising water in African most populous city adapting, how the African city adapting the floods of situation, and how it's control the how they are control how they will control the flood situation. That's the whole scenario. মাত্র এইটুকু পড়লাম এতক্ষণ ধরে, কয় মিনিট, 28 মিনিট, 28 minutes. That's a long time. Rest of the article I have to read. I don't know how much time it will take to me. Floating architecture, floating architecture. ভাসমান স্থাপত্য, floating architecture, floating, floating, ভাসমান. There is one part of Logos that has extensive, deep experience, maybe, ব্যাপক, extensive. There, there is one part of Logos that has extensive experience of dealing with high water, experience of কিশোর experience রয়েছে dealing with high water. They have the people have the experience to how to deal with the high water. Okay, it's better to see the sentence meaning in our native language. লোগোসের একটা অংশ আছে যেখানে যেখানে উচ্চ জলের মোকাবেলার ব্যাপক অভিজ্ঞতা রয়েছে. Okay, there is one part of Logos. Logos have such a one part, I mean one place, one area that has extensive experience how to deal with the water. Much of the Makoko neighborhood is not built on land ল্যান্ডের আগে সবসময় কি বসে on বসে ল্যান্ড built না bolt built maybe
built,
built built built
built,
built
built,
built
built,
built much of the Makoko neighborhood is not built on land. মাকোকো পাড়ার বেশিরভাগ জমিতে নির্মিত নয় much of the Makago neighborhood is not built on land. Makago, that place is not the purple land. I mean, that's maybe water. If we see the picture, we can realize that that's the area is the floating on the water. So that's have no land, no soil. So that's why they're telling that there is one part of Lagos that has extensive experience of dealing with high water. Much of the Mukago neighborhood is not built on land. That's why they make this sentence, I think. Okay, but rather sides on it on is try is tilts or is this is tilts
stilts,
it stilts but rather কিন্তু বরং sits on stilts above the waterline above the waterline জলরেখা Mokogo known as the Venice of Africa Venice of Africa
Venice of Africa,
is Venice of Africa is a labyrinthine how the arduous word those are
labyrinthine,
labyrinthine
labyrinthine,
labyrinthine L-A-B-Y
labyrinthine,
labyrinthine
labyrinthine,
labyrinthine মানে জটিল অবস্থা labyrinthine বিভ্রান্তিকর পরিস্থিতি ওকে labyrinthine গোলকধাঁধা labyrinthine
labyrinthine,
labyrinth
labyrinthine,
labyrinthine
labyrinthine,
labyrinthine
labyrinthine,
labyrinthine
labyrinthine,
labyrinthine
labyrinthine,
labyrinthine
labyrinthine,
দেখি রেজাল্ট কোথায় থাকে রিডিং এর তাই দেখি
labyrinthine,
labyrinthine গোলকধাঁধা labyrinthine hey guys if you have still with me please pronounce with me labyrinthine labyrinthine golokdada okay it's better to make some make some sentences with this word labyrinthine means golokdada okay I faced a harder situation and I feel that I was on labyrinthine I was on labyrinthine in 2014 when I was a student of honors first year maybe on my university labyrinthine golokdada okay it's better to write I I write down this word you should also if you want labyrinthine labyrinth what is it word what is word labyrinthine yes this is labyrinth Labyrinthin labyrinth thine labyrinthine slum into bosti labyrinthine slum yes bosti Venice of Africa is labyrinthine slum built on the trails and trails and navigated by canoe and navigated what is this navigated navigated kriya
navigated,
navigated
navigated,
জাহাজ চলাচল করা navigated
navigated,
okay is trails and navigated by canoe canoe দ্বারা navigated করা হচ্ছে এটা the slum has little access to electricity or clean sanitation the slum has little access to electricity I mean the slum has the tiny uh, the tiny amount of electricity they have they didn't have the vast electricity okay or clean sanitation or clean sanitation. I mean the electricity and clean sanitation. That is not mass, that is not huge collection, that's the little collection of those things, those particular areas people have. But it has also been home to innovations like the Mokeko floating school. But it has also been home কিন্তু এখানে কিছু রয়েছে home and innovations like the Mokako floating school. Wow, they have a school and homes, so many homes. A structure resting on recycled empty plastic barrels for the buoyancy. Buoyancy. What is the what's the word? Hey, people, do you know this pronunciation? How it's pronunciation? The word buoyancy. Okay, try it and next, and then try it first, and then I will listen on. I will search on the Google, and then we listen this word, the correct pronunciation. Okay,
buoyancy,
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 buoyancy. Shashota. Okay, but it has also been home to innovation like the Mokako floating school, a structure resting on the recycled empty plastic recycle it. But there have although there have no there have the vast of electricity on kiln sanitation, but they have the flooding school মানে ভাসমান একটি school and the structure resting on recycling empty plastic barrels on buoyancy. তাদের কাছে কি ছিল যে recycle, how to recycle, recycled process plastic empty একটা আই মিন স্কিম তাদের ছিল যে তারা রিসাইকেল এমটি প্লাস্টিক ব্যারেলস ব্যবহার করবে, রিসাইক্লিং করবে বোতলগুলো। The school's pyramid shape helped lower its center to gravity. Its center of gravity. What is the mean of gravity? মধ্যাকর্ষণ.
gravity,
Gravity. A structure resting on the recycled empty plastic barrels for buoyancy, the school's pyramid shape helped lower its center of gravity. The school's pyramid shape helped the school pyramid shape. I mean the school um, স্কুলের যে শেপ ছিল, যেই আকৃতি, শেপ মিন আকৃতি, help lower its center to gravity, মধ্যাকর্ষণকে সাহায্য করতে হয়, and so increase its stability, এবং যার কারণে it's consequently it's raising their stability. How to raise their stability? Because of the center of gravity. The help lower its center of gravity. Okay, while also being an ideal roof, what the meaning of ideal roof? আদর্শ ছাদ.
ideal roof,
Ideal roof. Okay, roof mean আদর্শ ছাদ. Ideal roof, being ideal roof shape for shading heavy rains. Shading, what the meaning of shading? জোরসে shading, shading,
shedding,
shading,
shedding,
shading.
shed,
While also being an ideal roof shape for shading heavy rains. For shading heavy rains, কি বুঝাতে যাচ্ছে এটা দ্বারা? ভারী বৃষ্টিপাতের জন্য ছাদের আদর্শ আকৃতি. ভারী বৃষ্টিপাতের জন্য ছাদের আদর্শ আকৃতি. ওকে, and increase its stability while also being an ideal roof shape for shading heavy rain. Okay, in this paragraph we can understand that, I mean I can understand that, I I can say that in this in those lines, they are trying to focus their houses, how to build their houses, and their facilities. They in this para they if I choose some summary, if I do summary here, have no electricity, here has no vast of electricity, ample of electricity, I mean the enough electricity or clean situation, but they have flooding is cool, and they have recycling system, they have sharing heavy rains, and so it's a roof shape of shedding heavy rains. Those are the structure of the homes. they have tried to understand how it's structure, the homes and the flat houses. Okay, the Mokago flatting school was a prototype buoyant building design with the origin of Lagos Mokago district. This prototype, this prototype, however, যাই was short-lived after suffering lasting damage from a storm. After suffering lasting damage, however, was short-lived after suffering lasting damage from a storm in 2016. I mean, it's maybe try to make understand that 2016 there were a storm that was happening, and a storm, and that was the suffering lasting damage, lot of damage here. Okay, I search the meaning of that sentences. 16 সালে একটি ঝড়ের কারণে দীর্ঘস্থায়ী ক্ষতির শিকার হওয়ার পরে সর্বকালীন ছিল। Okay, damage from is from 2016. I mean 2016 they have faced storm, heavy storm, and that's why so many people suffering lasting damage, the building or damage the houses. That's why they are remembered that the days that days and that is storm which is occurred in 2016. But it said the president for flooding, president.
Precedent.
Oh, okay. Precedent.
Precedent.
President. নজির উদাহরণ president. Okay, but it said the precedent for flaring system there. It's there, there, that, not that, there. It's architect. Architect Khanli Adiami would put to use in other coastal cities. Okay, do you mean the how the do you know what is the meaning of coastal cities? Which city is being called coastal area? Okay, some cities they are situated beside the sea level, beside the sea. That city is called the coastal area. Okay, iteration of the flooding structure have been built in Venice in our barges. এটা কি literation?
Iterations. Iterations.
Iteration.
Iterations.
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 পুনরাবৃত্তি.
Iterations.
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 Iterations. Iterations.
Iterations.
Okay. Punerabiti. Iterations of the flooding structure have been built in Venetian barges. Venetian barges. You might was like, okay, দরকার নাই. Most recently, nowadays, in this world, most recently, অতি সম্প্রতি, a version of the design is being constructed in the city of Mindila on the island of Soventi. Soaventi. আচ্ছা এই লেখাটার নাম কি সঠিক উচ্চারণটা কি দেখে নি?
São Vicente,
São Vicente.
São Vicente,
São Vicente.
São Vicente,
São Vicente. São Vicente. In this iteration, we are building in this iteration. এর পুনরাবৃত্তিতে we are building in it in a bay with Atlantic. Oh, কোথায় গেলাম? Okay, the founder of no, it's a flooding music hub, says Adiami. It's a flooding music hub. What's the mean? এটি একটি ভাসমান সঙ্গীত কেন্দ্র. It is a flooding music hub. Hub means চন্দ্রকেন্দ্র. Okay, in this iteration, পুনরাবৃত্তিতে, we are building it in a bay within Atlantic Ocean. The hub is made from timber. The hub is made, the কেন্দ্রটি মেড করা হয়েছে কি দিয়ে? কাঠ দিয়ে, timber. Really? Wow, how nice to look this. The hub is made from timber. The hub is made for all the area, all the houses were made by timber and consist of three floating vessels housing multi-purpose live performance hall. Consist of three floating vessels. Three floating vessels মানে কি?
Three floating vessels. Three floating vessels.
Floating vessels. Um, তিনটি ভাসমান জাহাজ. Three consist means গঠিত. Okay, timber and consist of three floating vessels, um, housing of multi-purpose. অনেকভাবে how the different uses for made that house that's called multi-purpose that are used here. Live performance hall is straight of the art recording studio and platform for thirsty guests. For thirsty guests is straight of the art রেকর্ডিং স্টুডিও মানে কি অত্যাধিক রেকর্ড স্টুডিও এবং তৃষ্ণার আতাখতের জন্য একটি প্ল্যাটফর্ম okay. This paragraph says that those houses are built by the timber and consist of three floating vessels, and there's a whole city are flooding all the house. They have the most opportunity to multi-purpose uses of that houses. There's a called the summary of the para. I mean of those lines. Would Wood Adiami, one of the person who says about this area is an ideal sustainable material for building floating structures in an ideal sustainable মানে টেকসই long durable is an ideal sustainable material for building floating structure building floating structure floating sorry
ভাসমান কাঠামো নির্মাণ
ভাসমান কাঠামো floating structure floating
floating
structures. If you have a cost benefit matrix of different solution for building one water, if you have a cost benefits means খরচের সুবিধা
cost benefit
খরচের সুবিধা
cost benefit
Adam says is in ideal sustainable materials for building floating structures. If you have cost benefit খরচের সুবিধা matrix of different solution for building on water, wood will be very high in rating. যদি cost benefit আমরা চাই, if we want cost benefit and the low expensive, if we want to build any house, so wood will be the ideal solution for the inexpensive materials for making houses. That's the scenario they are trying to say. So we take to hello দেখি. Hey, looking good, looking gorgeous. Wow, the wall clear scenery. How the idea what's the idea? Okay, the first class idea they are made. The floating music hub means that the area is parts of niche African water. এত সমস্যা হলে কেমনে হয়
Analyze African water.
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 Analyze African
Analyze
water.
African water.
Analyze
Analyze
African water.
Analyze African water. Analyze
Water.
African water.
Analyze African water. Cities project with six খোঁজে
Seeks.
who seeks to find new way for waterfront communities to live with rising sea levels in a state of uh, in a state of fighting water in a state of fighting water. They find তারা খুঁজে বের করেছে new ways খুঁজে বের করেছে কিসের জন্য for waterfront communities to live with rising sea level, যেহেতু rising sea levelটা প্রতিনিয়ত gradually it's increasing every year, so that's why they in a state of fighting water, they try to cope with this situation. That's why they built the floating houses here. Says Adimi, we want to learn to live with it. We want to love living. Adimi, we want to learn to live with it. তারা এখানেই বাস করতে চায়, তাদের এখানেই থাকা লাগবে। দ্যাটস ওয়াই তারা ওয়াটারের সাথে ফায়ারিং করা থেকে তারা কি করেছে, এটার সাথে কোঅপারেট করার জন্য একটি সলিউশন বের করেছে। দ্যাট সলিউশন ইজ দ্য ফ্লোটিং হাউস দে ট্রাই টু মেড, অ্যান্ড you already got the idea of those people, of those certain areas people. The hilarious, the or the amazing idea they are made, and wow, that's looking gorgeous. Okay, then now afterwards, I'm trying to read next next para that's called water traffic. What's water traffic? Water traffic. জল চলাচল.
Water traffic.
Water traffic.
Water
traffic.
traffic.
Okay, আর কতক্ষণ আছে? Wow, শেষের দিকে. Water traffic. How long I read? Oh, 52 minutes. Water traffic. It only took one ferry journey for Lagos. Ferry journey. It only took one ferry journey. Ferry journey means ferry jatra. It only took one ferry journey for Lagos resident later to be hooked. The speed of travel possible on the ferry for outstripped what she was used for, what she was used to evading on traffic on Lagos roads. Lagos roads, outstrips means সরিয়ে গেছে, outstrips.
Outstripped. Outstripped.
Outstripped.
Outstripped. Outstripped.
Okay, this is the nice word for writing test 2 when the question comes, the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. There's the here I can write down this word outstripped. মানে ছাড়িয়ে গেছে. Out is stripped. Out is stripped মানে সরিয়ে ছাড়িয়ে যাওয়া, ছাড়িয়ে গেছে. Out is stripped, ছাড়িয়ে গেছে. Okay. Outstrip what she was used of idling traffic on the Lagos roads. Ola Moring Emmanuel. এটা কি উচ্চারণ? মানুষগুলোর নাম এত কঠিন হয়? General Manager of the Lagos State Waterways Authority. General Manager of ইনি হচ্ছে, this person is the general manager of that authority, of this authority, says that water transport in the city has come a long way in terms of coverage. Coverage. Terms of coverage says that water transport in the city has come a long way. Water says that কি বলেছে?
শহরের জল পরিবহন কভারেজের ক্ষেত্রে অনেক দূর এগিয়েছে।
Okay. The water transport industry has come a long way in terms of coverage. According to Emmanuel, now there are more than 42 ferry routes on the waterway with 30 commercial jetties and terminals spanning across tourist districts. Spanning across means what is this? Spanning across. জুড়ে বিস্তৃত. Spanning across.
Spanning across.
Spanning across. Spanning across. Spanning means what is the meaning of spanning? Spanning.
Spanning.
বিস্তৃত. Spanning. Spanning. Okay. Spanning across the district. That means that now it's the transportation system are developed. They have a lot of ferry that were not before. 42 ferry roads and waterways with 30 commercial jetties. Their communication system is increased. There's the writer try to understand that things in this para. Okay, in this passage. Besides the city authorities, এছাড়াও নগর কর্তৃপক্ষ an increasing number of firms are setting up water transport businesses in the city. In increasing number of firm, wow, are setting of water transport businesses in the city in 2019. Uber set Seoul with the pilot run of its Uber boat service. Wow, Uber boat service. That's that's a really that's awesome scenario. That's awesome thinking. Uber set Pal with the pilot run off মানে পরিচালনা করা তাই তো yes চালানো its Uber boat service. The goal was to ease the city's infamous road congestion. The গোলটা কি? লক্ষ্য ছিল শহরের কুখ্যাত রাস্তায় যানজট লাঘব করা. Okay, the goal was to ease the city infamous road congestion. Famous road congestion রোধ করাই ছিল এটার হচ্ছে মূল গোল. We are aware
Aware. Aware.
aware we are aware of the main hours and productivity that are lost every day. Main hours the money main hours mean they try to understand the peak hours in the morning time or in the evening time, I mean in the office hours, and productivity that are lost every day due to the road traffic in Lagos state. Yes, that's a whole there's a right scenario of my country also. The peak hours, I mean the our valuable times we are lost for the traffic jam in the if we see the Dhaka area, I mean in our capital city, the capital city people try to face the capital city population face on a daily basis the water congestion, traffic congestion every day, and they killing the valuable times of their life from their life. Okay, lost every day due to the road traffic in Lagos state, says Lorin Ondru. ভাই লোরিন অন্ড্রু যদি আমার এই উচ্চারণ শুনে তাহলে তো আমার নামে কেস করে দেবে সে.
Lorraine Onduru.
ওরে বাবারে.
Lorraine Onduru.
লোহানেন উন্দু.
Lorraine Onduru.
Okay, skip it, সেটাই ভালো. Spokesperson for the company are looking at ways to provide commuters means যাত্রীরা. Okay, as to provide commuters with an easy and affordable way. Affordable means the convenient way. Affordable means the easiest way to get in and out of the city business district. We looking as to provide commuters. Provide commuters means the passengers. The synonym is commuters. Provide commuters with an easy and affordable way to get in and out of the city business district. During the 2-week courses of the Uber-boats pilots, travelers only had to reserve a seat using an apps. Wow, there's really a digital system in our country. I mean, in my Bangladesh, we cannot reserve a seat in bus with internet connection, but they reserved the boat seat. Wow, there's the floating houses. People are really awesome. They are coping with the digital era. Wow, how it's overcome. How the fascinating lifestyle they lead. The boat accommodated at least 35 people per ride from weekdays to the weekend. The boat accommodated at least 35 people per ride. Okay, they're capable to ride per ride, um, including 35 people. Weekdays to the weekend, they were conveyed to their destination on the designated routes. Designated routes. What is the mean to designated routes? Designated route.
Designated routes.
Designated routes.
Designated routes.
Designatd.
Designated routes.
Designated routes.
Designated routes.
Designated routes.
Designated routes.
Designated.
Designated
Designated
routes.
routes.
Designated routes.
Designated. Designatd. Designated.
Designated routes.
Designated routes.
Designated routes. Designated
Designated
routes.
routes.
Designated.
Okay, designated routes. কোথায় গেল? Yes, a maximum of 4 trips in a day. They can be able to trip 4 trips in a day. At the moment you propose this is still evaluating whether the boat could become a long-term solution for a long ocean commuters. Commuters means the যাত্রীদের এটা একটা long-term solution. Transport by water might be one answer to Logos epic traffic jam. Epic traffic jams means Mahakabha traffic jam, but it's taking a boat or ferry more sustainable than traveling by road. Okay, but is taking a boat or ferry more sustainable than traveling by road? Yes, there is lack of chance to accident, because we are facing accidents occur in every day in the road area, in the city area. If we open the television, we can see, we can watch so many news, and every day some more and more people died, especially particularly the reason of accident, road accident. Okay, little data exists comparing the options of logos, but according to estimated by the UK Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Studies, food passenger food passengers ferry has lower carbon emission per passenger than a bus. Yes, definitely. Coach or taxi. Bus coach. The author try to make understand that the the ferry, they are not such much um, carbon emission, um, and affect the environment, like the bus or taxi. There's bus and taxi, so they exhaust carbon dioxide more than boats. Although duties are springing up all over the city. Springing up all over the city. Springing up means
যদিও জেটিগুলি পুরো শহর জুড়ে বসন্ত করছে।
jetties are springing up. Springing up.
Springing up.
Although jetties are springing up all over the city, water transport has yet to make a dent into the huge numbers relying on the road. Water transport has yet, এখন পর্যন্ত water transport to make a dent, dent into means মধ্যdent, dent into the huge numbers relying on the roads. Oh, হিউজ নাম্বার রিলাইং কিসে করে? রোডে ডিপেন্ড করছে, আই মিন রাস্তার উপর নির্ভর করছে। যদিও জেটিস স্প্রিংটা পুরো সিটিতেই রয়েছে, তারা ঘুরে বেড়াচ্ছে, বাট ওয়াটার ট্রান্সপোর্ট হ্যাজ ইয়েট, এখন পর্যন্ত ওয়াটার ট্রান্সপোর্টের উপরে মানুষ বেশি নির্ভর করছে না। বেশি নির্ভর করছে কিসের উপরে? রিলাইং অন দ্য রোড সার্ভিস। In particular, number on ferries have been low during the pandemic. Number on ferries have been low. Number on ferries. মহামারী চলাকালীন ফেরিতে সংখ্যা কম ছিল. Number on ferries have been low during the pandemic when a service is available. Social distancing protocols mean the number of travelers per trip is halved. Okay. রেডাকের ভিতরে নাম্বার অফ ট্রাভেলার কম ছিল. But the Lagosians like Wallis are eager for the change and integration of the existing ferry service with the rest of the city transport network. You need something like a ferry. You need something like a ferry boat that could even take vehicles, good as well as passenger, commuters. If you remember this word, commuters, passenger, the synonym word is commuters. She says, and there's one thing I feel is missing. I feel it's missing. Okay, so the headline was this para water traffic, and I end that water traffic কমে যাচ্ছে. The writer tried to say that that boat communication they are trying to reduce imminent carbon dioxide or other the detrimental effect on the environment less than the roadside transportation like taxi or auto. They are doing great. They are doing more carbon dioxide every year, every per day, but the boat are not. And there have so many increasing transportation system, the author tried to say. Okay, but in the pandemic they get lower passenger. It's no problem for the maintaining the social distance. Okay, now the para is coastal. Coastal says means উপকূলীয় অবরোধ. উপকূলীয় অবরোধ. Coastal says উপকূলীয় অবরোধ. Coastal says
Coastal siege.
siege মানে অবরোধ. হ্যাঁ তাই তো. siege অবরোধ. siege coastal siege অবরোধ. coastal siege siege coastal siege অবরোধ. লিখে ফেলি. SIEGE অবরোধ. coastal siege অবরোধ. coastal siege অবরোধ. Our one prominent defense against raging water in the Great Wall of Logo, a barrier made of দশক শতক হাজার লক্ষ 1 lakh concrete blocks weighing 5 tons such the 8 maybe এর ভিতরে আসবে না. Defense protect the streets of surrounding by the logos. Eco-Atlantic development being built on reclaimed land and will be 8.4 km long when completed. The wall is intended. The wall is intended means অভিপ্রেত লক্ষ্য. Okay, intended to protect the new development from the unforgiving long long swell waves মানে তো ঢেউ. ফুলা তরঙ্গ. swell waves new development from the unforgiving long swell waves that originated in storms in the southern Atlantic Ocean. Okay, they try to build some protection with stone or bricks for that, because they can protect the unforgiving long swell wave is especially the Atlantic Ocean when the storms or the natural disaster comes. That time the waves are so strong that strong waves is called swell waves. Swell waves that's originating in storms in southern Atlantic Ocean. Okay, now I am clear. Through sorties through critics have raised concern what while protecting the shore in some region it is accelerating erosion accelerating means torrent accelerating erosion in others. Erosion may be koi accelerating erosion in others. Other structure to protect the sea in sorry include constructing 18 groenies on the shores. Groenies কোডেন কেন groenies on the shores of the eco-Atlantic. A groan is a structure built to trap sand and prevent it from washing into the ocean. Trap sand মানে বালি না yes sand and prevent it from washing into the ocean. Those installed at eco-Atlantic are each spaced 400 meters apart and span a distance of 7.2 kilometers. Further, grounds have been proposed to cover up to 60 kilometers of the straight coast, coastline have been proposed cover up বলতে বলেছে এত কিলোমিটার কভার আপ করতে হবে coastline with official estimating this would cost the news agency of Nigeria reported. Okay, in this passage coastal says in here the author try to make understand the people that they have took they have taken a scheme that is called the what is called that is scheme may be built in scheme have took maybe the protect of um, swell waves which is occur which is happen in the strong natural diseases when the southern Atlantic Ocean is storms facing in storm that time the sea level or the swell waves increasing. That's why they are trying to protect um, put, um, that's why they built um, brick and stones coastline for the protecting that swell waves. And then they took a scheme another another they try to take a step another scheme and there's a long cost at a dollar cost for that they are thinking to do it in the future. Okay, then flood forecasting. Flood, FLOOD, flood forecasting. It's maybe the weather forecasting. বন্যার পূর্বাভাস.
Flood forecasting.
Flood, FLOOD, flood forecasting. FORCASTING. Flood forecasting. Flood forecasting.
Flood forecasting.
Flood forecasting. Flood, FLOOD, FORCASTING. Flood forecasting. বন্যার পূর্বাভাস forecasting means পূর্বাভাস. Okay, while structured coastal defenses might be some of the most visible interventions to the counter flooding interventions. What the mean this word intervention? হস্তক্ষেপ.
Interventions.
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 While structural coastal defense might be some of the most visible interventions to counter flooding, one of the least visible could be the last as important for the city resilience. Resilience, not residence.
resilience,
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 resilience, সহনশীলতা, সহনশীলতা. Okay, Niger's federal authorities have designed the flood mobile apps to make prediction that could make coastal region the time to make adequate preparations. পর্যাপ্ত preparation, enough preparation. Adequate preparation means the enough preparation to protect Visa cities like Lagos. Uh, it means they are trying, they are facing, they are discover mobile apps to make sure the weather forecasting, the flood forecasting, so that the cities people, I mean, so that the that areas people make no understand that we will face flood, strong flood. So that's why we can we can make adequate preparation to protect the damages of the flood. The apps is ever protect, no protect, reduce the damages of the flood. Okay, reduce, elevate, allo. The apps is available online and provides real-time flood forecasting information about the specific location. Wow, this nice idea. Using data collected by the Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency. Okay, that apps discovered by the NISA, NIHSA, Hydrological Service Agency. Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency introduced a new apps, I mean mobile apps. That apps gives people to pre-weather forecast, to pre-flood forecast, so that they can get the adequate preparation to reduce the damages of the flood. That's the scenario the author try to understand the people, the reader. Okay, the apps cover much broader region than the earlier service. Were well-done apps, which was designed by Nigeria's Agriculture Ministry. The written apps only target farmers in three platform states of the federation, giving warning for days before an expected disaster. Disaster. Okay, then another app is written apps. What is the charon?
wetin app,
Waiting apps, WETIN, waiting apps, waiting, WETIN, waiting apps. Okay, I have one call. I disconnect this call because I'm reading. I am on recording now. Okay. The apps cover much broader region than the earlier service. Wheaton apps, which was designed by Nigeria's Agriculture Industry Ministry, the Wheaton apps only target farmers in three flood-prone states of the Federation, giving warning 4 days before an expected disaster. Okay, prior to this, the authorities had to rely on media such, এর আগে মানে এই অ্যাপসটা আবিষ্কার করার আগে the authorities had to rely on media such as magazines, radio, and television to get the world word out about an imminent flood. Imminent flood. আসন্ন বন্যা.
imminent flood,
Imminent flood. Okay, these apps so especially discovered for the farmers who are cultivate their crops. They can get the weather forecast, pre-weather forecast before 4 days of the disaster. It may be flood or other storms, so that they can make prepare themselves or reduce their damage of flood. So prior to this discover these apps, the people or the authority, they have to rely on the other magazine, radio, and television to get the correct weather forecast. Okay. Nisha is confident that new flood mobile apps will help people monitor daily flooding risk anywhere in Nigeria. Already, some early signals are getting people to be on the alert have started playing out as torrential rains flood the roads in business and residential district. Through a smart device, penetration, penetration. What is the meaning of penetration? অনুপ্রবেশ. Penetration remains relatively low among all but younger population in cities, leaving out prospective users in the rural areas in this without mobile phones. Without changes that like this and many others, sea level rise the century would displace million in logos. Without changes like this and many others, মানে কি এটা? এবং অন্যান্য অনেক মত পরিবর্তন ছাড়া sea level rise, the century would displace million in Lagos and low-lying districts like Makoko among the most vulnerable, but by learning to live on the sea and its waterway, defending the city coast, and knowing when inundation is most likely. Inundation means প্লাবন.
Inundation.
Inundation is most likely African large cities leveraging its ingenuity to stay afloat. Ingenuity means চতুরতা.
Ingenuity.
Flat. The emission from travel, the emissions of travel it took to report this story were OKG CO2. The digital emissions from this story are estimated 1.2 G to 3.0 G per page view. Find out more about how we calculated this figure here. Okay, that's wow, I have completed. Oh, finally, I completed this article. Finally, oh, thank God. I finally completed 1 hour 22 minutes. That's a long time. That's a huge time. I need to account for breathing. Okay, then now I am stopping this stopwatch and please write down in 122 1 hour 22 minutes I need to read um, the whole article. এই আর্টিকেলটা পড়তে আমার 1 ঘন্টা 22 মিনিট লেগেছে। দ্যাটস লং টাইম। ওকে, আমি আশা করছি এটা দিন দিন কমে যাবে। আর আমার সাথে থাকার জন্য অনেক ধন্যবাদ। এখন আমি কি করব, এখন আমি এই আর্টিকেলটা আবার একবার রিডিং করব, মানে প্রুফ রিডিং, যেটা দ্বারা আসলেই বোঝা যাবে যে আমার রিডিং এর স্কিল বা আমার কতটুকু ডেভেলপ হয়েছে, আমার প্রোনাউন্সিয়েশনটা কতটুকু ডেভেলপ হয়েছে। Okay, it's proof that my pronunciation is developed, have developed or not. Okay, so let's get started again reading this all the articles, this whole articles. Then I reset it. Okay. Oh, I started this articles. Start. The most populous city in Africa is also one of its most vulnerable to sea level rise and floods. To stay afloat, everything from its architecture to its transport may have to change. Navigating the through streets of Lagos, nature is challenged at the best time, but during the rainy season, the city strait can become almost impossible. A home to more than 24 million, Lagos is Nigeria's economic powerhouse, making it destination for people seeking new opportunities. But the rapid growth creates pressure on the streets and the environment. The streets are often flooded, in part due to the dysfunctional disposal of the 6,000 10,000 tons of rubbish generated daily in the city after a downpour. After a downpour, rubbish piles up in even open gutters and makes moving around the street difficult. I worry when it rains, especially when it's heavy, says Lagos resident Stephen Uriga. It makes me anxious on one occasion when taking a taxi through a waterlogging from parts of the city. She recalled the water gushing right into the back seat next to her. While the overall climate in Lagos is expecting to see less rainfall overall with climate change, the intensity of rain is expected to increase, bringing with it greater risk of flooding. Meanwhile, the low-lying city is also particularly vulnerable to water from another source, rising seas. If global warming exceeds 2°C, the city is predicted to see the 90 cm of the sea level raised by 2100, according to research led by marine physicist Svetlana Zeverja of the UK's National Oceanography Center. How, in the face of flooding, blocked streets and raging water in Africa's most populous city, adapting flooding architecture. There is one part of Lagos that has extensive experience of dealing with high water as the much of the Mokago neighborhood is not built on land but rather sits on its trail above the waterline. Mokago, known as the Vanish of Africa, is a labyrinthine slum built on its trail and navigated by canoe. The slum has little access to electricity to clean sanitation, but it has also been home to innovation like the Mokago Flying School, a structure resting on the recycled empty plastic barrels for buoyancy. The school's pyramid shape helped lower its center to gravity and so increase its stability, while also being an ideal roof shape for shading heavy rains. This prototype, however, was short-lived after suffering lasting damage from a storm in 2016, but it set the precedent of flooding system that it architect. Kenley et al. Would put to use in other coastal cities iteration, uh, iterations of the flooding structure have been built in banning from barges. More recently, a version of the design is being constructed in city Mindol on the island Sio Vicenta covers, which is flooding music hub, says Adiomi, the founder of Nili in urban design and development consultancy. In this iteration, we are building in a bay within the Atlantic Ocean. The hub is made from timber and consists of three floating vessels housing a multi-purpose live performance hall, a state of the art recording studio and platform of thirsty guests. Wood, DME says, is an ideal sustainable materials for building flooding structures. If you have a cost benefit materials of different solution for building on water, which will be very high in rating, his face. The Flooding Music Hub is part of Nil Africa Water Cities project, which seeks to find new ways for waterfront communities to live with rising sea levels instead of fighting water, says Adimi. We want to learn to live with it. Water traffic. It only took one ferry journey for Lagos resident Olympia Wally to be hooked to the speed of travel possible on a ferry for outstrips what she was used idling in traffic on Lagos roads. Walio Terminal Imran generally managed of the Lagos State Waterways Authority says that water transport in the city has become a long way in terms of coverage. According to Immunel, now there are more than 42 ferry routes on the waterways with 30 commercial jetties and terminal spanning across the district. Besides the city authorities, an increasing number of firms are setting up water transport businesses in the city in 2019. Uber said still with the pilot run of its Uber Board service. The goal was to ease the city in famous road in congestion. We are aware of the main hours and productivity that are lost every day due to road traffic in Lagos State, says Lurin Onduru. A spokesperson for the company are looking at ways to provide commuters with an essay and with an easy and affordable way to in uh, get in and out of city's business district. During the 2 week course of the Uber board splits, traveler only had to book ahead to reserve a seat using an app. The boat accommodated at least 35 people per ride from weekdays to the weekend. They were conveyed to their destination on designated routes, a maximum of 4 trips in a day. At the moment, Uber boating is still evaluating whether the boat could become a long-term solution for Logosian commuters. Transport by water might be one answer to Lagos' epic traffic jams, but is taking boat or ferry more sustainable than traveling by road? Little data exists comparing the option in Lagos, but according to estimated by the UK Department Business, Energy and Industry Strategy, food passenger ferry has lower carbon emission per passenger than a bus or each the taxi. Although jetties are springing up all over the city, water transport has yet to make a dent into into the huge number relying on the roads. In particular, number on ferries have been low during the pandemic when a service is available. Social distancing protocols means number of travelers per trip in halved, but the Lagosians like Wallis eager eager for the chance and in integration of the existing ferry service with the rest of city transport network. You need something like ferry boat that could even take vehicles good as well as passenger, she says, and there's one thing I feel is missing. Coastal says one prominent defense against raising water in Great Wall of Lagos, a barrier made of 10,000 concrete blocks weighing 5 tons, is the 8 Sea Defense Project, a stretch of shoreline by Lagos Eco-Atlantic, a development being built on reclaimed land and will be 8.4 kilometers long when completed. The wall is intended to operate the new development from the unforgiving long swell waves that originated in storms in the southern Atlantic Ocean. Through critics have raised concern that while protecting the shore in some regions, it is accelerating erosion in others. Other structures to protect the sea include constructing 18 grounds on the shore of Eco-Atlantic. The ground is structure built to trap sand and prevent it from washing into the ocean. Those installed at Eco-Atlantic are each speed 400 meter and its span is 27 kilometer per hour. Further, just have been proposed to cover up 60 kilometers straight coastline with official estimating this would the news agency of Nigeria reported. Flood forecasting. While structural coastal defense might be some of most visible interventions to counter flooding, one of the last visible could be at least as important to the city resilience. Nigeria's federal authorities have designed the flood mobile apps to make prediction that could by coastal region the time to make adequate preparation to protect design cities like Logos. The apps is available online and provide real-time flood forecasting information about specific location using data collected by the Nigeria. The apps covers much broader region than an earlier service. water apps, which was designed by Nigeria Agriculture Ministry. The Walton app only targeted farmers through flood-prone streets of the Federation, giving warning for days before an expected disaster. Prior to this, the authorities had to rely on media such as magazines and television to get word out about the immense flood. Nishas is confident that the new flood mobile apps will help people monitor daily flooding risk anywhere in Nigeria. Already, some early signals are getting people to be on resident district through smart device. Penetration remains relatively low among all but the younger population in cities, leaving out prospective users in the rural area and those without mobile phones. Without chance like this and many others, sea level rise the century would displace millions of logos and low-lying districts like Mokago among the most vulnerable by learning to live in the sea and its waterways, defending the city coast and knowing when inundation is most likely. Africa's largest city is lagging it in greenity to stay afloat. The emission from Travel to Tech report this story was OKG CO2. The digital emission from the story are estimated 1.2 to 3.6 G CO2 per page view. Okay, um, 13 minutes. The 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 whole articles I read within 30 minutes, and prior to these articles read um, maybe it took around 1 hour 22 minutes, so that's a long time. And but now I feel that my pronunciation is not good. I have to work hard a long time, um, and you know that I have targeted 40 days to improve my reading skill, and every day I um, I estimate um, I will estimate one article to read, and I will upload this video. You please please follow me and um, to um, to keep on eye how I improve my English reading gradually day by day by practicing day by day. ওকে, এটাই এই নিউজই মানে এই মেসেজটাই আপনাদের দেওয়া ছিল যে আমি প্রথমে কমপ্লিট করলাম 1.5 ঘন্টায়, তারপরে আমি আবার পড়লাম, সেটা আমাকে নিল 13 মিনিট। এটা যাদের রিডিং আরও ফাস্ট তারা অনেক কমে পারবেন, 6 মিনিট বা 7 মিনিটের ভিতরে পড়ে ফেলতে পারবেন। তো আমাকে সেই পর্যন্ত যেতে হলে আমাকে আরও কষ্ট করতে হবে। তো গাইজ, আমার মতো যারা আছেন, যারা রিডিং স্কিল বাড়াতে চান, রিডিং নিয়ে খুবই সমস্যায় আছেন, একমাত্র রিডিং এর জন্য আইএলটিএস ভালো রেজাল্ট করতে পারছেন না, চোখ কান বন্ধ করে শুরু করে দেন রিডিং পড়া। আমার মতো আর্টিকেল পড়েন, এইভাবে পড়েন, টাইম লিমিট দিয়ে পড়েন। দেখেন যে নিজের প্রোগ্রেসটা যখন আপনি দেখতে পারবেন তখন আপনি আর কোনো কিছু ভুলে যাবেন, সব কিছু ভুলে যাবেন। তখন আপনার আনন্দ পাবেন এর ভিতরে। আপনার মনে হবে যে আমি পড়ি, আমি পড়ি, আমি রিডিং পড়ি। টাইম দিয়ে টাইম দিবেন, আবার পড়বেন, টাইম দিয়ে আবার পড়বেন, আবার পড়বেন, টাইম দিবেন, দেখবেন যে ভালো লাগা কাজ করবে এখানে। তো আমি কষ্ট করে যাচ্ছি, ফ্রেন্ডস আমার জন্য দোয়া করবেন। আর আল্লাহ যেন আমাকে এই রেজাল্টটা যেভাবে হোক উপহার দেয়। আমি দোয়া করবো যেন আপনারা যারা আছেন আইএলটিএস নিয়ে স্ট্রাগল করছেন দীর্ঘদিন ধরে, আপনারাও যেন ভালো একটি রেজাল্ট পান। তো আজকের ভিডিও শেষ করব, যদিও অনেকক্ষণের ভিডিও। আমি জানি না কেউ আমার সাথে আছেন কিনা, আমার মনে হয় কেউ নেই। তো যদিও যদি কেউ থাকেন তাহলে আমাকে কমেন্ট বক্সে জানান, অন্তত এটা দেখে আমার ভালো লাগবে। আর আপনার রিডিং কতটুকু ফাস্ট হলো বা কত মিনিটে এটা কমপ্লিট করলেন, প্লিজ এটা কমেন্ট বক্সে লিখে দেন, যাতে আমি বুঝতে পারি যে আমার আমার কন্ডিশন কোথায় আছে। ঠিক আছে, তো ভালো থাকবেন। ইনশাল্লাহ পরে আবার আরেকদিন দেখা হচ্ছে, মানে নেক্সট দিন দেখা হচ্ছে। প্রথম দিন রিডিং চ্যালেঞ্জ, ওকে। দ্বিতীয় দিনের চ্যালেঞ্জের জন্য আমি প্রস্তুত। আপনি প্রস্তুত তো? বাই বাই।